in this market wants to go down. So we are starting, a flat QQQs. We're basically flat, which is awesome. We had a really nice trender yesterday in the markets. Yesterday was a go-go day. There are times in the market where there's only like an hour's worth of trading to do. And then there are times in the market where you literally got to sit at the computer, eat your lunch at your desk, and like really go for it, because that's just what the market calls for. There's action all over the place, and frankly, you just don't get it that often. There's four different types of markets, but in general, markets are either trending or they're consolidating. You only get maybe, I would say, a handful of months of pure trending every year. And then most of the year, like you're like either sitting in a range or chopping around. You get a handful of a handful of months a year where you get like this kind of action. So you got to maybe trade a little bit more than you want to, unless you're an over trader. If you're an over trader, then you got to walk away all the time because you're an over trader, right? And there's a handful of us that are like that. It's a club. It's a movement, and we just got to do it. The good thing is, even with the market going up, we are starting earnings season. Earnings season usually gets kicked off with Alcoa, which starts tomorrow. There was like Wells Fargo and some Citigroup type of stuff recently, but those are like really kind of shitty stocks to play. Usually Alcoa is like the heater. So for earnings season, what you always want to do is make sure that your strategies for handling news plays is really solid. So there's technical analysis plays, and then there's news plays. News plays are like when you're looking for gappers in the morning and you're sitting there and you're saying like, okay, these are the stocks that are moving pre-market, and then you're applying XYZ principle. If you look at maybe our last like 2-3 webinars, they should be on the YouTube. We go into the strategies of how to trade earnings season in detail, because that's something we do. So let's take a look at these gappers, and we'll talk about the regular stocks, and we'll have ourselves some fun. Shinobi, what's up? Clarence, how you doing? All right, so this RTIX looks like it's popping on some news. 62 million share floats. It's not really like a micro low float, but you are getting this thing back into this resistance point. I'm not sure I'm into this. Like, it's up 100% already, and the volume amount's only 300,000 shares. The best of these like small cap stocks that really explode, they're doing like multiple millions usually in the pre-market. This TRXC's got a lot better volume, and it just had a 1-to-13 reverse split. So 1-to-13 reverse split. See how it says 100 million share float? It's not, because it had a 1-to-13 reverse split. So in general, like the float on this is probably less than 20 million or 10 million, and you can see the market cap on it's very small. So if you're going to play like a small cap stock, this one's going to give you a lot more range. As long as it can get over this 50 SMA, which is at 238, you've got a lot more range, because you can see here, like this is obviously just like a huge turdzilla of a stock. It's a big heap and smelly one on this one, which a lot of you guys are into, man. A lot of you guys are into. So you can definitely add this on your list. If it hangs out over that 50 SMA, go for it. Not my personal cup of tea. I'm more of a coffee man. You know how it goes. This exhibit is gapping up, but it's a buyout, so those don't count. Junk. Let's watch this ADAP. So ADAP was a heater yesterday. You can see here, like this one, it had some news out, and it had a monster spike. Like it just went up to 5 real quick in a handful of candles. And then it looked like it came crashing down. Like it went from 5 to 3. This is almost too much volatility trade sometimes. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, like this thing started to rip back over from 3 to 6. Yeah, it's got range. And now you're gapping up again today on really some heavy volume. 3 million shares. It's actually in the pre-market taking out yesterday's highs. That's going to be the level to watch. If it can like break and hold over yesterday's highs and you start to build over that, that's when you're going to have yourself like a chance to actually have this thing go for a round 2. These type of names, I mean, sometimes they can go to like $10, $15. You just never know. And most likely it'll also be back at 50 cents very soon too. So, its range is going to be like, can it get up to here? And then if it does, it'll probably still be back down to here. Or does it just make a straight beeline back down to here? Because that's what they usually all do. You know, that's something you guys got to judge. And then, you know, see, it's LJPC. This thing's gapping up today too again. But you can see here, this one is a little bit long in the tooth. Like, frankly, that one might make actually a better short than a long. Not really my cup of tea. BYND. So everybody's been stalking this stock. I think that this one's... I thought this yesterday, though, so I ain't gonna lie. This stock's moving for 70 to... It's 125 now, so that's over a 50% gain in a handful of days. You got some strong resistance. If you go back on your chart, so like, see this? If you go back in your chart, 1 test, 2 tests, 3 tests, 4 tests, you know, you have like a really kind of strong resistance level around that 130. I think that's probably the lid on it. It's not an easy stock to short either, though, because it's just doing too much volume. You know, when you're doing that much volume, like, you may think you have the short ready. Like, you're like, okay, I got this. And then the jets turn on and it just shake you out. The range just gets so big that when the intraday candles will be like $1 and you end up just getting smoked out. So if I was going to short this, it'd probably be near 130. And it's really hard to kind of buy this right now if it's extended. So what you want to do, like when a stock is extended after news is out, you want to kind of take the page out of like a, say like a Tesla, where it's all about the reaction, like the first pullback that matters. The first pullback, like what you want to see is if it's orderly, like see how like Tesla after gap after earnings, you got this like orderly pullback. If you get the orderly pullback and it starts to hold at the 9 and like you just get like a nice, easy kind of pullback where it's not a crash, it's just a orderly pullback, that's when, you know, you have like a secondary play that can go. So that, I think that's like the real thing with BYND that you got to watch. Like, all right, it's due for a pullback, but how does it act? Like, how does it look? And what's the nature of it? And if it's orderly, then there's probably a second leg in this. And if it's not, then you gotta let that thing go. But I do think that we added to the watch list for potential short today. You may have to go to your broker and order shares. They should be available, but you never know. I'm not seeing anything else here that's really that zesty. If you guys see anything, let me know. Let's see it on the downside. STML, junk, junk, junk. Jimmy, junk, 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 junk. Junk, junk, junk. BNTX. Junk, junk. Junk, 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 junk. Junk, junk. Let me see what this Mo is all about. Mo money. Acquire, acquisition, junk, junk. Junk, 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 junk. Yeah, I mean, you can almost tell just by some of the volumes in these things, like 2,000, that it's going to be junk. Junk, junk, junk. Yesterday, there was a lot of gappers, and it looks like today there are none, which is fine, because our watch list is full of love and compassion. Let's talk about my favorites out of the non-gappers. CGC, week open here. You got a week open here, 22.85. The close on it was 23.20. Watch for the red to green on this. What's a red to green? A red to green, this is essentially your dotted line, right? When you go red to green and you break over yesterday's close, that's called a red to green move. If that goes, then that would trigger a potential run in this one, and we will trade it. This ZS I actually got on watch for a short if the market ever decides to roll over. You know, this thing was like 45 bucks, it's at 59 bucks, like 6-7 days up in a row. I'm watching this thing around the 200 SMA. If it smacks into that, then I think that one will have, that one could have a potential short in it. Yeah, I'm watching all the dips to support on the space. This was an IPO breakout, Virgin Galactic Holdings. It just sounds cool, like Galactic, right? Sounds cool. If this thing pulls back to 13, I'm definitely going to be looking at potentially kind of marinating on this one. But if this thing pushes hard today, like if I got like a parabolic push in this, I would not be afraid to go short on this for like a quick little snapback down to 13. Out of the pod stocks, like TLY is the one that just, yesterday was like its first day. You know, CGC's been doing marination station for a while, but Taylor Y just had its first day. This one tends to move actually, you know, it can move when it gets going a little bit more explosive than CGC, but it's also twice as big of a turd than CGC, so, you know, you got to kind of play it both ways. All these pot stocks are on watch for red to green moves today. Crowd, I'm watching this 60 spot. It needs 2 days to tighten up, though. You can see you got 4 days into resistance here. It needs about 2 days to tighten up. You know, in the old days when the market actually went up and down, I'd actually think about taking a short at this around 60 and play it back down to the 9 EMA. But in Trump's world, there is no shorts, okay? There's only talls. Big and tall, that's what I do. We eat Big Macs and we long the market. We don't short anymore. It's fantastic, okay? It's great, people. All because I got that General Suleiman. The market shall never go down again. It's fantastic. No, normally we'd take this thing down, but we can't, right? LK's a daily trader for us at this point. I feel like it's a little bit long in the tooth, but these things can just keep grinding higher. You know, the high of the day yesterday is 47.50. You know, you can grind up higher, 50, 60 sometimes before it really snaps back. But, you know, in my heart, I feel like it's due for a big pullback, but that's because I just like shorting stuff. Yeah, Tesla gapping $20. Like, there's nothing you can do on this. You can't long this up here, really. You can't long this up here because it's just nasty. Now, the one thing, if you guys, you know, I've been loading up on also some cryptos here. So we've been loading all sorts of these things the last couple days. This ETH, I mean, that thing looks fantastic. I don't know why my lines are dotted like that, but what the fuck? Yeah, this thing is looking hot here. Whoa, I don't know what that is. You got a nice range break here at 150. BTC going nuts. So you got a flag break on this. Like, we added this in the chat room, like 8,200. This is awesome. So cryptos suck to trade, but when they go, they're really fun. When they go, they're really fun because, like, you can get, man, you can get, like, some serious moves on this, and there's no PDT, right? So, like, you can go in and say, like, man, you see, like, stuff like this just running around. You know, the patterns work really first of all, the patterns work really clean in crypto when it's going, because there's only, like, you know, a handful of people trading this stuff, and, like, most of it is just, like, nerds. You got huge. So I'm in this link. I got BTC. I got ETH. We've been adding this yesterday. Man, this is, like, easy. Like, you just, boop, 8,200 flag break, you know. This ETH still got tons of room to run. You know, you can see here, man, this thing's a heater. And this 157-ish area goes back, like, for a little bit of time. You know, it was like a big level here for, like, quite some time if you look at it. See that? So, like, you're like, boom, boom, boom. This level's been so important for so long. If we can get this thing, you know, busting out over it, I think that, man, I think we're going to be in a very, very happy place. Hey, man, anybody know on Trading View how to get these things from Dash to Solid? Let's get it later. Cool. So I would keep this, BTC, ETH. Man, there's a lot of these penny ones, too. Like, you know, there's a lot of these penny ones I've been looking at here. See this BitTorrent? Man, this thing is, that's a base break. That's one of the hottest patterns that you can see. PDT rule clearance is that you have to have $25,000 in your account to be able to day trade in the U.S. stock market. This one is hot. BTT, and then, you know, there's one other one that I've been adding a little bit of, which is this Beam. Beam. You can go Beam USD if you want. This one, at some point, I think I have a gut feeling this thing, if it gets out of, like, the 60-cent range, man, this thing could explode back into, like, the 150, 160s. These are those kind of things, man. You add, like, say, like, 4,000 or 5,000, you know, coins. I usually call them shares. And then, man, they can just go. They can just go. Like, There's a lot of these bottoming out. I think 2019 was the year of the flush, and then I think 2020 these things probably make a comeback. But I've been wrong before on these things too. Keep an eye on all of them, because there's no faster money than crypto money, up and down. There's no faster money. When these things go, like, for example, in a stock, like to rip like a 10-point gain could take like 5 days. In cryptos, like to rip a 10-point gain, it could take a few hours. The other thing is that, there's no PDT and stuff like that. So, like, if you're trying to build, it ends up being a good way to go. Only, though, if the market's hot. If it's not, then they stink. Where the stock market, you get to trade every day. APLS, I like this one. You got a nice flag pattern coming over here. 37, that 37 support held. If we can kind of break, if you look at the 30-minute chart, if you look at the 30-minute chart, you started to tighten up here, kind of cruising up the MAs into that, resistance spot. This one may have a chance today. This TDC was a heater yesterday. I goofed this up. I put this on my list and I took it off because all I saw was Teladoc Health. So I'm like, oh, it's like a hospital. Those things stink the trade, right? And then later on, I noticed it was actually like a tech stock that just happens to be in a hospital. This, man, see this ORB? Clean. This flag clean. When you look at a stock, you always want to see, like, how does it react? How does it react to the stuff that I want it to react to? Like, what are the patterns that I trade? This type of stock, like, number one, it's a breakout on the daily chart. The second part is that it's reacting well to the type of patterns that we like to trade, which is the whole ball game. That's the whole ball game. I want to see, like, how does it react to my MAs, to my VWAPs, so on and so forth. So keep an eye on those. And then keep a bunch of Chinese stocks on the list today. They were popping out of nowhere yesterday. You can see this WB, it didn't even give us a chance at ORB, maybe on a smaller term time frame, but it definitely did on a 5-minute time frame. But the range on this, it did on one. The range on this was just amazing. Like this, look at this thing. If you can catch an opening drive like this, man, you set for the week. You set for the week on that. So at WB, Momo was nice too. So you got a trend line break here. The liquidity on this is very nice. 6.4 million shares. And this one was moving clean too. Look at that thing. $3? Damn. I like all of these bad boys. I like all these boys. Keep all those on the watch list and we good to go. So, moral of the story, let's just recap this. Like, what are our faves? I didn't see any good gappers. I don't know if I'm missing any, but I don't see any good gappers today. Yesterday's gappers, you can do all for day twos. And then our top plays for today will be smash out of this BYD at some point. CGC, TRY. LK's a daily trader. And you know what? Tesla, with the gap today, this could be an exhaustion gap today. Like, watch this thing. If it starts to fade off, like if you start to crack, you may get a nice short in this. And you don't have to go much because it's really extended. You could go in even 50 shares, like 100 shares, and you may catch a short in this bad boy. You're at the top of the Bollinger Band. You're starting to get overbought. I usually like stocks that are up like 3 days or more to try to short them. It did have a 2-day rest, but you're going to see this candle's going to be completely outside the upper Bollinger Band today. It's going to be ready to go. Cool. Hey, Jeremy, man. The issue with Dow is going to be it's got news out, but airlines are really grindy stocks to trade sometimes. I would put it on the list. I just haven't had any personal luck trading airline stocks because they just move a little bit slow. The float on this is going to be a little bit high, so you just end up with a kind of just nasty little, sometimes they just grind. I need quick action, I'm a degenerate. I am a degenerate. I need that action. Mr. Shinobi, I have not. I mean, it's not a, because it's not really, YouTube is probably not the format for that, because you need more than a 10-minute video. It's really kind of like a 30-minute to hour thing. Good. All right, man. I don't think I'm not seeing any gappers that I really like. So we're going to trade what we trade. Hey, Chuckster, how you doing? Let me check this APA. What tickers are you guys watching, just in case? I got 2 minutes to get this going. This APA could be a flag, but I think it definitely needs to tighten up. 9 EMA, $2 away, brother. You know, we can find some probably better ones. Yeah, Netflix has got nice consolidation, marination over here. This one's got a chance to. You got a gap fill that's starting here from like. You got a gap fill target of like 360. So, you know, 360 is nice. You got a little bit of room to go. All right. So let's go have some fun. Let's do what we do. And as always, trade well, trade fast, trade smart. Guys, remember, bootcamp class starts up again next week. 60-day boot camps. Kick off your 2020 right. Old bootcamp students, I better see all of you guys in, because you can retake class as many times as you need. And the markets change, right? Every quarter, every bootcamp we do, the markets subtly shift into different stuff. So we want to make sure that you're always coming into class. It's a lifetime thing, right? Where you got to always be coming into class. People are always learning. So let's go do what we do. Let's have a little fun. Let's get the music going. You know what time it is. You know what music we listening to start off the day. Let's go have some fun. Peace.